Some professions had their charm. This story opens with a new restaurant's opening. Miwa, Kami, and Yukari were there to hire a new bartender for the restaurant. Kami was the superintendent of their examination and he asked for a drink. The first one failed because Kami had an empty stomach and a bartender had to be particular about one's stomach. Kami asked one from the second candidate and he failed to make the cocktail because it got mixed and it was a failure. The third one was only a show-off and Yukari was enjoying him. Now after that Yukari and Miwa were sitting and Miwa was worried about their bar. Yukari wasn't very serious, but Miwa was because without a bartender bar could not be owned and Chief Kami had the criteria that they wanted a bartender who could make a glass of God. They were worried and suddenly noticed that the phone was ringing off. The next person Rio woke up and asked Miwa how to use the phone. She helped him and he ran away. They saw his book, a library book, so Miwa took it. On the other side, Kami was with Taizu and told him about the failure of bartenders and asked if Taizu could provide any information about the glass of God, but got nothing. Everyone was worried. And the girls thought that only they were worried about their work in the office because others were enjoying their work. Now Yukari and Miwa started looking for the other bars and went to check their bartenders but were at a loss. They went to Ogura and were worried about their job but Ogura said he might be able to help them. But he was also a failure. Suddenly Rio came there and when they saw him, they told him about his book. He was relaxed that they could return it and while sitting Ogura told the ladies that Rio was also a bartender. Yukari said it might be fate, but he looked weird. So they didn't talk with him about the job. Yukari found a new bartender in the town who was a master at his skills, but the issue was money to get there and check the bartender. Kami helped them, and they went there. They checked the building and went to the bar. Their hopes were rising and when they entered the bar, people were sitting there. They called the bartender and Ria came. They were shocked to see each other, and they were not sure if he could make them a perfect glass. Although a customer asked for a glass and he started making it, they were also looking at him and it was a perfect blend. They were shocked to see it and tried to test him. Yukari asked for a heavy drink but he found she was hungry. So he told her to order a lighter drink and he succeeded in the test. Yukari asked for a drink with some indications, and he started making it. They were surprised to see him, and he served her a glass with energetic sips. Now it was Miwa's turn and she thought if he was that good at his work then he had to pass her too. She asked for his recommendations, and he started making a drink. She thought that he'd fail it because of the drink he was making she didn't like, and when he served her, she was disappointed. But when he drank it, she was amazed because it was out of the world. He told her that only two professions in this world can't lie to their customers. One is the physician, and the second one is bartender. Only a simple change could change the whole game and she was surprised when she heard that he had noticed her very well and came to know what kind of drink she'd like. He also told her how he made his ice and made it long-lasting from melting and Miwa was surprised to hear how hardworking he was. Now he started telling them the real meaning of bartender. They were amazed to hear his talks and now when they came back, they were very energetic because they had found him. Kami told them to approach him, and Miwa saw the book. She forgot to return it and Ryu was looking at an empty plot. Now our girls were going to give him a proposal because Ryu was the one who completed all the requirements for being a good bartender. But when they are there the bar was closed and Ryu was at Lapin's bar. He was there to help him, and Lapin asked him if he wanted anything that he could ask him. Suddenly he saw the calendar and was shocked. A customer came in. He was Taizu. He came in and Ryu gave him a towel. Lapin introduced them to each other and Taizu asked if he could handle him. Ryu said he could manage a lot of requests and Taizu asked him to make a cocktail for him. Ryu started making it and when he served him Taizu called it awful. Ryu was trying his best, but all the time Taizu called it awful, and our man was worried. Suddenly he got a phone call and went to answer it. Lapin came to him and said Taizu was always like that. The last owner showed him to Lapin and after his death, he came on his death date every month. Taizu was a weird customer although for Lapin, our girls were looking for Rio and came to know that he was at a bar to help his friend. Miwa decided to search for him, and they started their journey. Taizu came back and asked now what was next and Rio served him a cocktail and started telling him about it. Kid was a 15-year-old wine. But Taizu didn't like it and called it awful. Taizu told him to give him a favor and gave him money to buy him something and the change was Ryo's tip. Ryo was disappointed and went to Ogura and asked what he could do if a customer called his drinks all awful. Suddenly our girls came in and asked why he was there and said they were looking for him all around and his bar was closed. So, he told them that he had to help a friend of his so that's why. But he asked their reason for finding him and Miwa gave him the proposal. Ogura was shocked that they were looking for Ryo and the salary was also a handsome amount. But he refused to work there. Ogura was ready for this job, but they wanted Rio. He was lost in his thoughts. and now he was at his work and was still busy in his thoughts. Miwa and Yukari went to his bar, and it was closed because he was at Lapin's bar and had summoned Taizu because he wanted to talk with him. When Taizu came, he asked to listen to an old story and Ryo started his story. He told him about the past of bars and the liquors. He was making a drink for him and told him that the drinks he was using for this cocktail had a refreshing and flavorful taste with bright color, and when served Taizu thought it was also awful. But when he drank it, it was amazing and like the same his friend used to make for him. Because at that time there were no such resources to make the drink cold, so they used such drinks which were refreshing without ice. Taizu was amazed. Ryo told him that he had learned this from his mentor and Taizu said it was a long time since he had such a drink. He was enjoying it and after that, he gave him a card and said he could be there after a call. Taizu was thinking if Ryo could make a glass of God. The next day Kami was informed about Ryo's refusal, but Miwa was hopeful to change his mind and asked for a chance and got that. They again went to his bar, and he again said the same thing. Girls were disappointed and suddenly a customer came. She was all wet because it was raining outside. He asked for his servings after giving her a towel and she said she wanted to get drunk. She was very bad at talking, she was abusing, and Ryu was having a smile on his face. She called him an asshole, but he didn't respond to it. She asked for his recommendation for the drink, and he said he'd come after some time, and she told him not to disappoint her. He went and came back with a pot and started cooking. Everyone was stressed to see it and he served a kind of soup. He told her that it was a traditional drink. She drank it and got burned up again. She enjoyed it, and he told her the phrase, "one for the road," and started telling her the meaning of it. He said it means that our daily lives are very easy and before going home we would like to drink, and it was the duty of a bartender to serve one with the best drink to get the stress away. She was listening to him and asked for the second one and he gave her. He told her that he didn't mind if she called him anything, because it was his duty to serve his customers and he liked that she allowed him to serve. She was about to leave, and he told her to smile, and she laughed. Now he was talking with our girls and asked if they noticed what was her profession and, on their asking, he told them that she was a lawyer. They were amazed and Miwa wanted him to do a job for them. He told them that he was afraid of heights so he couldn't swim there and the girls were shocked. It was a stressful and lame excuse. But Miwa told Taizu about Ryu and he also wanted him as the bartender. Keiko was in her office, and she was weird. Yajima was there, and she started asking him about a book Ryu told her and she was happy to hear about it and said she'd taken Yajima to drink sometime. Now Yukari was telling Miwa about the talk between Kami and the bartender. They were talking about Ryu and the Mr. Perfect from the K-bar. Yukari opened her eyes and Miwa was leaving because she wanted to go somewhere, and Yukari thought that she had a boyfriend. But she went with her grandfather to the awarding ceremony to the Mr. Perfect and he asked if he could make a drink for Taizu, but he refused and told him about Ryu. Taizu told him that he liked Ryu's drinks, and it was amazing. After they went to Rio, he guessed that they were relatives. They were sitting and a girl named Kyoko came and asked for a B&B. He started making it and telling her about this drink. She was amazed to drink it and thanked him for his help. Kyoko wasn't sure about quitting her job and Miwa didn't understand what was happening. Taijo told her that she had to learn a lot and Rio told her that Kyoko was also a bartender because he noticed Kyoko asked if the bar was still open and our man still noticed a lot. Suddenly Mr. Perfect came and Miwa was surprised to see him there. He asked for a drink and started questioning him. Ria knew the answers and Miwa was surprised. He served him the drink and it was amazing. Ria said he had noticed that he was also a bartender because he had asked for the drink which took all the skills of a bartender and that he was familiar with the drinks. But Mr. Perfect lost to guess the secret ingredient in the drink and Taizu laughed at him. Before leaving, Mr. Perfect told him that his drink was still far from perfect. After all that, Yukari asked Miwa about her boyfriend, but she told him about the party and Yukari asked if Miwa had a boyfriend. When Ryu was walking and saw Kyoko and went to her and they sat and started talking, she told him that she made a drink and failed to please the owner and the customer, but still, she was practicing and he told her that they stirred drinks to make them flavorful and he insulted her. She got angry and left by inviting him to her bar and he was hopeful that now she'd work her best. Ryo closed his bar and went to K-bar. Taizu was there because he had summoned him, and he asked them to make the same drink and Mr. Perfect agreed. Miwa also came and they told her to select the drink and now they started making it. Mr. Perfect asked Ria some questions and he was again correct this time. Taizu asked her to close her eyes and she got the drinks. She drank them and liked the second one made by Ryu. He told her that he had seen she was hyper, so he made the drink at a warmer degree, but Mr. Perfect told her to take another sip and the taste was changed, and he insulted Ryu and he left. Miwa went after him and they went to a bar. She tried to cheer him up and he complimented her, and she got shy. Subscribe to our channel for the latest updates.